Today I will start discussion on cyclone and anticyclone. Okay, cyclone and anticyclone. Getting well? Okay. You see, as far as the question of cyclone is concerned, for better understanding, you first particularly see Earth is surrounded from all the side by mechanical mixture of gas. Okay, Earth is surrounded from all the side by mechanical mixture of gases, right? Mechanical mixture of gas is referred to as air. Okay, on the basis of its movement, there are two categories. One is if there is vertical mobility of air, it is referred to as air current. Okay, and if there is horizontal mobility of the air, it is referred to as wind. Getting well now? Okay, again see, there are two categories of air current. If there occur vertical upliftment of the air, it is referred to as ascending column of air current, and if there occur descending tendency, it is referred to as descending column of air current. Clear na? Similarly, winds are of three types, known as primary circulation, secondary circulation, and tertiary circulation. Getting well now? Those winds are referred to as primary circulation, which blow in the fixed direction throughout the year. Example of primary circulation are trade wind, westerly wind, and polar easterly wind. Getting well now? They blow in the fixed direction throughout the year. They not change their direction. Getting well? And those winds which change its direction at least once in a year is referred to as secondary circulation. So example of secondary circulation is air mass, front, cyclone, anticyclone, and monsoon. Okay, getting well now? And you see, under tertiary circulation, local winds are included, like Chinook, like Phone, like Bora, etc. Okay, so it is obvious. Actually, you see, first primary circulation is also referred to as macro level wind or planetary wind. Okay, secondary circulation is referred to as meso level wind, and tertiary circulation is referred to as micro level. So it is obvious that cyclone is the example of secondary circulation. Getting well now? Now, as far as the question of cyclone is concerned, what is cyclone? So cyclone is the example of secondary circulation. Okay, it is the example of secondary circulation. Cyclone and anticyclone. Getting well now? Right? Now I will discuss the topics one by one. Okay, as far as the question of cyclone is concerned, it is referred to as atmospheric disturbance. Getting well now? Actually, cyclone influences the atmospheric condition of any area. Okay, actually, if a cyclone remains in any area, then it causes rainfall. In case of anticyclone, no rainfall occur. No? Okay, so actually, how cyclone will be defined? Okay, so normally cyclone is defined as the system of wind. It is not individual component of wind. Okay, cyclone is defined as system of wind having low pressure at the center. Okay, at the center there exists a low pressure, and this low pressure is surrounded from all the side by high pressure. Okay, by high pressure. This system of wind, right, is called cyclone. Getting well now? Right, it is the system of wind having low pressure at the center, which is surrounded from all the side by the high pressure. It is clear now? So on the other hand, anticyclone is defined as the system of wind having high pressure at the center, which is surrounded from all the side by the low pressure centers, low pressure area. Getting well now? So what is the basic difference between cyclone and anticyclone? It is clear now? In cyclone, low pressure is surrounded from all the side by the high pressure. Okay, on the other hand, in anticyclone, high pressure is surrounded from all the side by the low pressure. Getting well now? This low pressure center of the cyclone is referred to as eye of the cyclone. Okay, Suppose you see, if you will simply define the cyclone as a system of wind having low pressure at the center, surrounded from all the side by the high pressure. In this case, you know that wind always blow from high pressure to low pressure. Then wind from all the direction will come and converge at this point, and immediately this low pressure will convert into high pressure zone. It is clear na? So in this case, if a cyclone is simply the system of wind having low pressure at the center surrounded from all the side by the high pressure, in this case cyclone will be a transitory phenomena. Okay, it appears that it should be a transitory phenomenon, but this is not the reality. You see, Hudhud, Falin, etc. and other type of cyclone affected the coastal part for the period more than 48 hours. Okay. So in this case, it put a question mark, right, on this definition that cyclone can be defined simply as the system of wind having low pressure at the center, surrounded from all the side by the high pressure. Okay. Actually, you first understand one important point. Okay, we are using pressure, low pressure, high pressure, etc. Okay. So actually, you see the line joining places experiencing same atmospheric pressure is referred to as isobar. Isobar is the line joining places experiencing same amount of atmospheric pressure. Okay. Actually, if low isobar are closely spaced, it indicate high pressure. Getting well now? If they are widely spaced, then it indicate low pressure. What is the basic difference? It is clear now. If on the map you will see that isobar are closely spaced, so it indicates that this is high pressure zone. Okay, and if isobar are widely spaced, then it represent low pressure zone. Okay, so actually how isobar indicate the condition, it is clear na? Now see, I am drawing a figure. In this figure, actually suppose this is the position of isobar and this is also the position of isobar. Getting well now? So from this figure it is clear that in central part isobar are closely spaced, right, and hence particularly it represent high pressure. Okay. On the other hand, in the outer peripheral region they are widely spaced. It means they indicate low pressure area. Low pressure area, it is clear na? This is low pressure and this is low pressure, it is clear. So in the actually this is high pressure surrounded from all the side by the low pressure, it will be anticyclone. Getting well now? On the other hand, if particularly this is the figure, this is the map in which particularly these are the position of isobar. So in this figure, in the central part isobar are widely spaced, indicating the fact that in the central part there exists a low pressure. Okay. And in the outer peripheral region isobar are closely spaced, means particularly it represent high pressure. So it will be the pictographic representation of cyclone. Getting well now? This is anticyclone because low pressure, because isobar are closely spaced at the center, indicating the high pressure, and outer peripheral region contain widely spaced isobar representing low pressure. Now, the system of wind having low high pressure at the center surrounded from all the side by the low pressure is referred to as cyclone. On the other hand, system of wind having low pressure surrounded from all the side by the high pressure is referred to as anticyclone. It is referred to as cyclone. Getting well? This is cyclone, this is anticyclone. Again you see, there are two type of figure representing the cyclone, right? Actually one figure is, you see, sometime you will find this type of figure. Okay. Actually it appears that isobar are almost circular. It appears that isobar is almost circular. It is clear na? In another figure you will find the location of position of isobar in this way, in this. Okay, here in the central part isobar are widely spaced representing low pressure. Getting well now? In the outer peripheral region the isobar are closely spaced representing high pressure. This is high pressure, high pressure, high pressure area, high pressure area and high pressure area. It is clear that it represents the cyclone. Okay. Here also in the central part, isobar are widely spaced. This also indicate low pressure and this indicate this represent high pressure na, because in outer peripheral region isobar are closely spaced. It is clear na. So it is also cyclone. The basic difference between the two figure is this is the figure of this is the representation of tropical cyclone. It means tropical cyclone is represented by circular isobar and temperate cyclone is represented by elliptical isobar. Getting well now? This is the basic difference. Getting well? If in prelims such type of figure will be in your answer question paper, na, you can simply aggregate it. You can simply particularly understand what particularly the figure reveals. Okay, right? Tropical cyclone is represented by circular isobar and temperate cyclone is represented through elliptical isobar. Getting well now? And actually you see the pressure difference between the center and outer peripheral region is referred to pressure gradient na. So actually velocity of the cyclone depend on the pressure gradient between the center and outer peripheral region. Normally the pressure gradient in tropical cyclone is more as compared to that of the temperate cyclone. That's why tropical cyclone poses high velocity and it causes more destruction as compared to that of temperate cyclone. It is clear now? So how you will define, you can represent the cyclone in pictographic form. It is clear now? Cyclone can be represented through isobar. Isobar is the line joining places experiencing same atmospheric pressure. If isobar are closely spaced, it represents high pressure. If isobar are widely spaced, then it represents low pressure. Getting well now? So in case of cyclone, at the center, isobar will be widely spaced because low pressure center exists in the cyclone. But in case of anticyclone, in the central part, isobar will be closely spaced because in anticyclone, low pressure exists at the center. Getting well now? So what is cyclone? It is clear now. But one important point, this is simple definition that the system of wind, to be noted, cyclone is not an individual wind, it is the system of wind. Getting well now? So that's why Ferrel's law directly not apply on this theory in case of tropical cyclone or temperate cyclone, because you see Ferrel's law, according to Ferrel's law, the wind in northern hemisphere deflect rightward, that is follow clockwise path in northern hemisphere and in anti-clockwise path in southern hemisphere. But right opposite to this, in case of cyclone move in anti-clockwise direction in northern hemisphere and clockwise direction in southern hemisphere. It is clear na? So that's why you should not hold confusion in your mind, because cyclone is not individual component of wind, it is system of wind, and Ferrel's law holds true for individual wind but not for the system of wind. Getting well now? Actually you see, for cyclone, since cyclone is long-term phenomena, you can say, not transitory one, not for a minute, it can handle, it can exist for particularly few hours, it can remain in existence up to 48 hours. Okay, that we have seen even along the coastal part of Indian Ocean now. Okay, so actually there are two factors responsible for origin and development of the cyclone. First factor for cyclone formation is origin of low pressure. Origin of low pressure. Getting well now? Origin of low pressure is essential because low pressure is the eye of the cyclone. It is the key for the origin of the cyclone. Okay, without low pressure, cyclone cannot remain in existence now. Actually, till the low pressure will be maintained, the cyclone will remain in existence. Getting well now? The first factor responsible for origin of the cyclone is origin of the low pressure. Okay, and second factor, both the factors are simultaneously relevant for origin of the cyclone. First factor is origin of low pressure, which is also referred to origin factor, and second is maintenance factor. First is actually origin factor means origin of the low pressure. Okay, whatever be the mechanism of the origin of the low pressure, it is another thing, but origin factor means origin of the low pressure. And second is the maintenance factor, right? Maintenance factor refers that, right, that low pressure, however be developed, should remain in existence for certain period. It is clear na? It means low pressure should be maintained for a long period, right? Because till the presence of the low pressure, cyclone will remain in existence. Okay, otherwise its existence will be lost. Getting well now? So that's why we said that there are two factors responsible for cyclone. One is origin factor and second is maintenance factor. Okay, now see, what is the origin factor? What is the meaning of origin factor? The factor responsible for origin of the low pressure. Okay, because low pressure is located in the central part of the cyclone. Okay, and it is also referred to as eye of the cyclone. Okay, clear? So as far as the question of origin factor is concerned, origin of low pressure is concerned, there are two method or mechanism for origin of the low pressure. First is thermally induced low pressure. Getting well now? First factor, okay, first way for the origin of low pressure is thermal factor. Right? If low pressure is due to thermal factor, it is referred to as thermally induced low pressure. Okay? Because you see, T is inversely proportional to P. Getting well now? If temperature will be high, pressure will be low. If it means particularly in the zone where temperature will remain high, low pressure center will be created, and this is the origin factor for origin of the eye of the tropical cyclone. Getting well now? Okay, and second method, है ना, second way to origin the low pressure is dynamically induced low pressure. Okay, there are two way of the origin of the low pressure. One is referred to as thermally induced low pressure, and second type of low pressure is referred to as dynamically induced low pressure. Getting well now? How thermally induced low pressure is created? It is clear now? It is based on the gaseous law. On the other hand, you see, what is the meaning of dynamically induced? Okay, so actually polar front theory was propounded. According to this theory, two contrasting air mass, if converge along a line, if this is warm air mass and this is cold air mass, indicated by K, okay, then front is produced. No? Whenever there occur convergence of two contrasting air mass, then front is formed. It is clear na? Front formation occur now, right? Front formation occur. Getting well now? So front is produced when there occur convergence of two contrasting air mass. But the air mass converge to form front, and after the destruction of front, low pressure is created, and this low pressure is referred to as dynamically induced low pressure. Getting well? What is the basic difference? Clear? When air mass combine to form front, okay, and after the occlusion or destruction of front, low pressure is created, and this low pressure is referred to as dynamically induced low pressure. Okay, so there are two ways for origin and development of the low pressure in case of cyclone. Either it is thermally induced or it is dynamically induced. Getting well now? Low pressure is either created due to high temperature condition prevailing there or due to dynamic factor. Right? Dynamic factor is based on the polar front theory propounded by V. Verkneys and J. Verkneys. Okay? Getting well now? According to this theory, when two contrasting air mass converge, front is produced, and after the destruction of front, low pressure is created, and this is referred to dynamically induced low pressure. Okay? I said that for origin and development of cyclone, two conditions are simultaneously essential. One is origin of the low pressure, and second is maintenance of low pressure. Origin of the low pressure factor is clear now? Now see, what is the meaning of maintenance factor? Okay? Maintenance factor means the low pressure center should be maintained, should remain in existence. It is clear now? And maintenance factor is Coriolis force. Coriolis force is considered as the maintenance factor. Okay? Now see, as far as the question of Coriolis force is concerned, So Coriolis was an important geographer who said that since Earth rotates on its axis, okay, whatever wind as well as oceanic current remain in contact of this particularly Earth surface experiences deflection. Okay, this deflection was first noticed by Coriolis. That's why this deflective force is referred to as Coriolis force. Getting well now? What is the meaning of Coriolis force? It is clear. Coriolis force is the deflective force exerted on the wind as well as oceanic current due to the rotation of the earth on its axis. It is a type of deflective force to be noted. It is clear na? If earth will be static, then there will be no deflective force. Coriolis force is due to dynamism of the earth na? Right, as earth rotates on its axis. That's why Coriolis, since it was this deflective force was first noticed by Coriolis, that's why it is referred to as Coriolis force. And as far as the question of Coriolis force is concerned, first, Coriolis force is proportional to sine theta. Okay, where theta is the value of latitude. Getting well now? Right? Where theta is the value of latitude, it is clear. This is first law. It means you see if this is the earth surface, okay, this is 0 degree and this is 90 degree na, 90 degree north, and this is 90 degree south. Getting well na, degree south. So here latitudinal value of equator is 0 and latitudinal value of the pole is 90 na. Okay, so you see at the equator Coriolis force is sine 0 is equal to 0. It means equator, over the equator Coriolis force will remain 0 or will remain ineffective. This remain ineffective in between 0 to 5 degree north and 5 degree south. Getting well now? Between 0 to 5 degree north and 5 degree south, है ना, Coriolis force is almost ineffective. It is clear na? Getting well now? But actually you see, as you will move in poleward direction na, in both the hemisphere, Coriolis force gradually increases. Okay, it means deflection is maximum at the pole. Okay, there is no deflection at the equator. Right, deflection start beyond 5 degree north and beyond 5 degree south. It is clear na? Right. So actually you see what is the impact of, and one important point, Coriolis was the first geographer who noticed that due to dynamism of the earth on its axis, a deflective force operates. Okay, and since this deflective force was first noticed by Coriolis, that's why this is referred to as Coriolis force. Okay, and Ferrel was the climatologist who tried to explain the impact of Coriolis force on wind as well as oceanic current. Okay, Ferrel stated that in northern hemisphere, actually due to Coriolis force, this is right and this is left now. So in northern hemisphere, due to Coriolis force, the wind or oceanic current will deflect in rightward direction. Again, this is right and this is left now. Again, it will deflect in rightward direction. This is right and this is left. Again, it will deflect in rightward direction. It is obvious that in northern hemisphere, due to Coriolis force, the wind or oceanic current will follow clockwise path. Getting well now? On the other hand, he said that in southern hemisphere, suppose this is the wind, this is equator, and this is the wind or oceanic current of the southern hemisphere. This is right and this is left. So according to Ferrel's law, due to Coriolis force, the wind as well as oceanic current of the southern hemisphere will deflect in leftward direction. This is left, this is right, again leftward direction, this is left, this is right, again this. It means due to Coriolis force, according to Ferrel, in northern hemisphere, the wind will follow clockwise path in northern hemisphere, and in southern hemisphere in anti-clockwise path. This explanation, propounded by Ferrel, is referred to as Ferrel's law. What is the meaning of Ferrel's law? It is clear now, right? What is Coriolis force? It is clear. Coriolis force is the deflective force due to the dynamism of the earth on its axis. Getting well? Okay. So you see, actually, first factor, Coriolis force. Coriolis force is proportional to sine theta. Okay, it means at a 0 degree latitude there will be no Coriolis force, and hence particularly at 90 degree Coriolis force will be maximum na, because it is the value of sine increases from 0 to 90 degree. It is clear na. Second law is, second factor is Coriolis force is proportional to velocity of wind. Okay, and third factor is Coriolis force is proportional to volume of wind. Volume of wind. Okay, these are the three important principles. First is Coriolis force is proportional to sine theta, where theta is the value of latitude. Second, Coriolis force is proportional to velocity of the wind. More will be the velocity, more will be the deflection, and vice versa. Okay, and third, Coriolis force is proportional to the volume of wind. More will be the volume of wind, more will be deflection. Okay, so what is the impact? What is Coriolis force? It is clear now, right? And how velocity, how particularly volume get affected by the Coriolis force, it is almost clear now. And Ferrel explained the impact of Coriolis force on the wind as well as oceanic current, and this explanation is referred to as Ferrel's law. Okay, you see, I said that there are two factors responsible for origin and development of the cyclone. One is origin factor, right? Which origin factor, right? Origin of the low pressure, that is origin of the low pressure, and second is maintenance factor. Okay, so as far as the question of maintenance factor is concerned, Coriolis force is referred to as maintenance factor because you see, suppose this is Earth's surface and this is low pressure area, and this is high pressure zone. You know that, right? Actually, if there is no intervening factor, then the wind from this high pressure will blow in this direction towards low pressure na, forming right angle triangle with the internal isobar. If the wind will form right angle triangle with internal isobar, then immediately this low pressure will convert into high pressure, getting well na. Okay. But if Coriolis force is available there, then Coriolis force not allow the wind to form right angle triangle, and Coriolis force causes the wind to deflect in upward direction. It is clear? It means convergence of the wind along this point not occur, and hence low pressure is maintained. That's why Coriolis force is referred to as maintenance factor. Right? What is relevant? It is clear. How Coriolis force is relevant here, it is clear now. It means you see the area where I am giving the example, the area where Coriolis force is not active. As for the example in the equator, in this case the wind will blow from high pressure to low pressure. Collision of the wind will occur here because they will collide at the center now, right? Converting this low pressure into high pressure, right? It will, in this case, no cyclone generation is possible now. But if Coriolis force is available there, then the Coriolis force divert the wind in upward direction, right? Coriolis force not allow the wind to collide at the center now. Hence low pressure is maintained. That's why Coriolis force is referred to as maintenance factor. Getting well now, right? So you see, actually here this is cyclone. Okay, so in case of cyclone, in the lower part there occur convergence, there remain converging tendency of the wind, right? First is convergence of the wind, and second is upward upliftment of the wind. Okay, this is essential in case of cyclone. Only convergence will not do. Okay, convergence and upward upliftment both are essential na. Convergence is due to the origin factor, you can say, and upward upliftment is due to the maintenance factor, that is Coriolis force na. That's why cyclone is more appropriately defined as convergence and upward upliftment of the wind. It is clear na? Convergence and upward upliftment of the air. Getting well? How you will define cyclone? It is clear na? It means particularly to define cyclone, actually simple definition of the cyclone, that it is a system of wind having low pressure at the center surrounded from all the side by the high pressure, will be wrong. Okay, will not do, uniform, is not effective. as compared to that of this definition. That's why UPSC had raised the question almost probably in 2011 or 2012 prelims, right? That cyclone is defined as the system of wind having, first option was low pressure surrounded from all the side by the high pressure, second high pressure surrounded from all the side by the low pressure, third particularly divergence and descent and divergence of the wind, and fourth option was convergence and upward upliftment of the wind, and this was the true answer. Okay, getting well now? So how cyclone will be defined in clear now? Cyclone is defined as the convergence and upward upliftment of the wind. Getting well? Okay, what is cyclone? So cyclone is the example of secondary circulation now, right? And what are the conditions for origin and development of the cyclone? So there are two essential conditions, right? If both the conditions will fulfilled, then only cyclone will originate. Okay, first is origin factor and second is maintenance factor. Origin factor means origin of the low pressure and maintenance factor is the Coriolis force. Okay, now we will investigate that the place of origin of the cyclone on the earth. Getting well now? Actually, you see, one thing you should keep in mind, if there occur upward upliftment of the air, okay, you know that upward upliftment is referred to the current now, then only low pressure is created on the earth's surface. Okay, and this provides cyclonic condition. Getting well now? On the other hand, whenever there will be downward descent of the air, then it will create high pressure and anticyclonic condition. Anticyclonic condition. Okay, so actually, if in any area, if there is a downward descending tendency of the air, then cyclone formation is never possible, to be noted. It is clear na? For cyclone formation, upward upliftment is essential factor, as cyclone is defined as convergence and upward upliftment of the air. Getting well now? Now see, we are drawing a figure to identify the place of origin of the cyclone. Okay, the place of origin of the cyclone. This is Earth's surface. This is 0. This is 5 degree north. This is 5 degrees south. Getting well now? (25 degree north, 25 degrees south). (60 degree north, 65 degree north). And this is 90 degree north. Getting well now? Again in southern hemisphere, this is 25 degrees south and 35 degrees south. This is 60 degrees south and 65 degrees south, and this is 90 degrees south, 90 degrees south. Getting well now? Okay. Actually, you can say that this is doldrum area or central part of equatorial low pressure belt. Getting well now? Actually, this is first zone. This is second zone. Second. Okay. This is third zone, third belt, you can say. Okay. And this is fourth one. Fourth. Okay. Fourth one. Actually, you see, number 1 is referred to as equatorial low pressure belt or central part of the doldrum. Actually, equatorial low pressure belt broadly extend up to 0 to 10 degree north and south. Okay. And the central part of equatorial low pressure belt is referred to as doldrum, and it extends between 0 to 5 degree. It is clear now? Again, 25 to 35 degree. 25 to 35 degree, 35 degree, 35 degree, है ना, 35 degree north, degree north. Getting well now? So this is referred to subtropical high pressure belt. Getting well now? This is equatorial low pressure belt, equatorial low pressure belt, okay, or doldrums. Though I am indicating only 0 to 5 now, so doldrum or doldrum area. Getting well? Okay. Second is subtropical high pressure belt, okay. This is also subtropical high pressure belt, okay. This is subpolar low pressure, low pressure belt between 60 to 65, and this is also subpolar low pressure belt, subpolar low pressure belt. It is clear now? And this is polar high pressure belt, and this is also polar high pressure belt. Getting well now? So there exists 7 pressure belt on the Earth's surface, okay. Right, high pressure and low pressure exist in alternative way. It is clear now? Right? Actually, you see one important point, कि low pressure is always characterized by upliftment of the air, and high pressure is characterized by downward descent of the air. Getting well now? So wherever high pressure belt exists, cyclone formation is never possible because anticyclonic condition prevail there. Getting well now? So actually in this zone there is descending tendency of the wind. In this zone there is a descending tendency of the wind, and hence cyclone formation is ruled out. Okay. So whether cyclone formation is possible between 25 to 35 degree latitude, right? It is not possible. Why not possible? Because this high pressure is dynamically induced high pressure, and this high pressure is due to downward descent of the wind. And when descent of the wind will occur, it will create anticyclonic condition. It is clear now? In this zone, cyclone formation is not possible because for cyclone, convergence and upward upliftment is essential condition. Getting well now? Okay. Again see, actually this is high pressure. This area is a low temperature zone, and in low temperature you know that pressure remain high now. Right? In high pressure zone, cyclone will not be produced now, but a low pressure zone is favorable for cyclone. Getting well now? So in this area also cyclone formation is not possible. In this area also cyclone formation is not possible. It is clear now? Again see, whether cyclone formation is possible between 0 to 5 or not, or near at the equator. So actually cyclone formation is not possible between 0 to 5 because Coriolis force remain is almost 0. Right? Maintenance factor is not there now. Right? That's why cyclone formation is never possible at the equator. Getting well now? I have said that Coriolis force remain ineffective between 0 to 5 degree now. So that is the reason why cyclone formation is not possible between, origin of the cyclone is not possible between 0 to 5. It is another thing that origin of the cyclone occur somewhere else, and during its migration movement it entered in this zone and affecting this area. It is clear now? But origin is not possible in this zone because of the lack of the Coriolis force. It is clear now? In this zone also, actually in subtropical high pressure belt, due to downward descending tendency of the air, okay, cyclone formation is never possible. It is clear now? Because this is subtropical high pressure belt, and this subtropical high pressure is dynamically induced due to downward descent of the air. Okay. So it is obvious that, right, it is obvious that either cyclone formation is possible between 5 to 25 degree latitude in both the hemisphere. It is clear now? This is the zone. A is the zone located between 5 to 25 degree. A is the zone located between 5 to 25 degree north and south. It is clear now? It is clear. This is the first zone where cyclone formation appears to be possible, and this is the second zone. Okay, this is B. This is the second zone where cyclone formation is possible. B zone is located between 35 to 65 or 65 or 60 है ना, 65 डिग्री नॉर्थ एंड साउथ, गेटिंग वेल ना. तो ऑन द अर्थ सरफेस ओनली वी हैव टू जोन वेयर cyclone formation is expected to occur. It is clear now, right? The cyclone which is produced between 5 to 25 degree north and south is referred to as tropical cyclone. Tropical cyclone, getting well now? And the cyclone which originate between 35 to 65 degree is referred to as temperate cyclone. Temperate cyclone, obvious. Right? If in prelims the question will be why cyclone formation is not possible between 5 to 25 degree, 0 to 5 degree, what will be the answer? Because of the absence of the Coriolis force. Okay. Why cyclone formation is not possible between 25 to 35 degree north and south? That is some tropical high pressure belt, because there exists downward descending tendency of the air, and this is characterized by anticyclonic character, not cyclonic one. Okay, so that's why either cyclone formation is possible between 5 to 25 degree latitude in both the hemisphere, or between particularly 35 to 65 degree latitude. Getting well now? That cyclone which is produced between 5 to 25 degree latitude in northern hemisphere as well as southern hemisphere is referred to as tropical cyclone. And in case of tropical cyclone, right, actually I had mentioned there are two factors for cyclone. One is origin factor and second is maintenance factor, right? So for the origin of the tropical cyclone, tropical cyclone, right, low pressure is thermally induced. Getting well, right? Along with the maintenance factor, that Coriolis force. And in case of particularly temperate cyclone, low pressure is dynamically induced. Okay, it refers that it is due to the destruction of the front. Getting well now? Okay, getting well now? So actually there are two types of cyclone on the earth. One is tropical cyclone, second is temperate cyclone. Getting well now? Tropical and temperate. Clear? Now see, actually we have clear understanding on this issue that cyclone formation is possible either between 5 to 25 degree latitude in northern hemisphere, right, as well as southern hemisphere. It is clear now? Or between 35 to 65 degree latitude in northern and southern hemisphere. It is clear? Actually you see, if this is tropical zone, this is continent, this is continent, this is also continent. It is clear now? Similar is the case in southern hemisphere. The continent may exist here, or may exist here. It is clear now? Now see, actually one important point. Okay, for cyclone low pressure is essential. Okay, clear? Low pressure, intense low pressure, not normal low pressure. Intense low pressure is essential condition. Okay, now see, if this is continental area, and if this is oceanic area, getting well, oceanic area, right? So the air which exists in the continental area is dry. Okay, and the air which exists in the oceanic zone is moist. Okay, clear? Dry air is considered heavy. It will have descending tendency. Okay, on the other hand, moist air is considered light, right, and it will have ascending tendency. Getting well? Okay, so actually suppose P1 is the atmospheric pressure in the continental region and P2 is the atmospheric pressure in the oceanic zone. It is obvious that P2 is less than P1. Okay, so it is clear that more intense low pressure is created in the oceanic area as compared to that of the continental zone. No? That's why it is said that tropical cyclone always produce in the oceanic zone but never on the continent, to be noted. It is clear now? What is the reason? Getting well now? It is due to the humidity content of the air which intensify the low pressure in the oceanic area. It is clear na? When a tropical cyclone, suppose peninsular part of India. Peninsular part of India is located in tropical zone. Certainly between 25 to 35, actually 5 to 20, 25, it exists certainly. But you see, in this area, whatever air will exist will be dry na? It will have descending tendency because it is heavy. Right, so that's why it is not suitable place for origin and development of the tropical cyclone. But origin and development of tropical cyclone will occur in Bay of Bengal and Arab Sea. It is clear now. Getting well? So actually, tropical cyclone, first rule is tropical cyclone always produce in the tropical ocean. Getting well? Tropical cyclone always originate in the tropical ocean, but not over tropical continent. Okay, actually you see, now we will investigate in which part of the ocean tropical cyclone will originate, whether it will originate universally or in certain part of the ocean. Okay, tropical ocean. So actually you see, if this is tropical ocean now, so in western part of the tropical ocean or western part of the tropical ocean remain under the impact of warm oceanic current, and eastern part of the tropical ocean remain under the impact of the cold oceanic current. It is clear, right? Because in northern hemisphere there is clockwise movement of the oceanic current according to Ferrel law. Okay, and actually the oceanic current which flow from low latitude to high latitude is referred to as warm current, and if it move from high latitude to lower latitude, it is referred to as cold current. Na? So this is clockwise. That's why in western part there will be warm current because low to high. Okay, and this side will be cold current because high to low. Okay. On the other hand, in southern hemisphere, anti-clockwise direction is recorded na. So here particularly you see this will be the warm current and this will be the cold current, cold one. Okay. So actually we may conclude on this issue that western part of the tropical ocean remain under the impact of the warm current, and eastern part of the tropical ocean remain under the impact of the cold current. It is clear now? Again you see in southern part the same principle holds true for now. In southern ocean also, southern tropical ocean also, western part of the ocean is under the impact of the warm current, and eastern part of the ocean is under the impact of the cold current. Getting well now? Okay. So actually warm current temperature ranging between 20 to 25 is considered ideal for origin and development of the tropical cyclone. It is clear that tropical cyclone will always originate in western part of the tropical ocean. Okay, right? But not in the eastern part of the tropical ocean. Getting well? Right? In which area tropical cyclone will originate? Getting well now? देखिए, first statement I given that tropical cyclone always originate in the tropical ocean but not over tropical continent. Okay? It is clear na? Right? It cannot originate over the continent. It will always originate in the oceanic zone. Okay? What was the factor? Responsible factor was in continent, over continental area, the air remained dry and heavy, poses the tendency to descend in downward direction, producing anticyclonic condition. On the other hand, the air of oceanic zone is moist and light, poses the uplifting tendency na, creating more intense low pressure na. So that's why oceanic area are suitable zone for origin and development of the tropical cyclone, but tropical continent is not suitable. Okay. Again, particularly on the basis of the nature of oceanic current, we came on the conclusion that since western part of the tropical ocean remain under the impact of the warm oceanic current and eastern part remain under the impact of the cold oceanic current, na? It is clear na? So that's, and warm oceanic current is favorable for cyclone. All right, cold oceanic current create anticyclone, you know. It is clear na? Actually you see, suppose it is Atlantic Ocean, so this is Gulf Stream. It is clear na? Right? This is Gulf Stream na? And this is particularly Canary current. Getting well na? Okay, in southern hemisphere you see this is Brazilian current, southern part of Atlantic Ocean, this is Brazilian current, right? And this is Benguela current. Okay, so actually Brazilian current is warm and Benguela current is cold. Okay, getting well now? If it is particularly Pacific Ocean, then this is Pacific Ocean, then it is referred Kuroshio current, and this is Californian cold current na? In southern hemisphere, okay, this is in Pacific Ocean, this is particularly, this is East Australian current which is warm, okay, and this is particularly, this current is, what is the name of this current? This is Peru current or Humboldt current, okay, Peru or Humboldt na? So Peru, actually you see cold current causes anticyclonic condition. So actually you see along this part, this is right Gulf Stream located in the western part of the North Atlantic Ocean, but this is Californian current, this is cold one, this is located in the eastern part of the Pacific Ocean. Getting well now? Okay, so here several deserts are found. Getting well now? Right? Mojave Desert, Altar Desert, Sonoran Desert are found along this area. Similarly, you see in southern hemisphere, actually here the area remain under the